everyone, this is Deepika Patel and welcome to the school quiz class. So let's start our today's class, and today's class will be based on your sample question paper. Okay. So we have completed our first part, that is first sample question paper on biology, and today we will start the second sample question paper. And if you didn't watch the sample question paper first, do watch that video. It is on 3 parts and available on the YouTube. So let's start our today's class. So we will be discuss that sample question paper 2 on biology. Okay. So in your biology chapter, as you know that the chapter 8, chapter 9 and chapter 15 will become in your term 2 examination, and the marking scheme are that is 40 marks. There are 7 questions of 2 marks, and there are 6 questions of 3 marks, and there are 4 questions of 2 questions of 4 marks. Okay, so this is a case based question. Okay, you will do solve. Okay, so let's start. And I prepared this sample question paper based on this marking scheme, and it is totally based on these 3 chapters. So it will be easy for you to revise all the chapters by questions. Okay, and you can see that if you answer that question in a very particular manner or not, and it will be give you a base that how to write a question in your exam. Okay, so let's start, and we will start from the question number 1, which is of 2 marks. Okay. Yes, so this is a sample question paper second. Okay. So the very first question is, why it is mandatory for all the manufacturing companies to make CFC free refrigerators? Give examples of other chemicals which contribute environment depletion same as CFC do. So as you know, this is from the chapter 15, which is our environment chapter, our environment. Okay, and in this question, the question is asking about the CFC, that why for the companies that it is mandatory to make CFC free refrigerators. Why? Because CFC helps in ozone depletion. CFC is the reason for the ozone depletion. Okay, CFC is one of the main reason for the ozone depletion. Now you will be thinking that what is ozone depletion? So as you know that, see, in our environment there are the ozone gas formed. Okay, and what is the formula of the ozone gas? That O3. So it is a byproduct of the UV rays, but it helps us from the UV rays. When these ozone clump is formed, that is the ozone layer. So these help us from the UV rays, okay? Ultraviolet rays. So ultraviolet rays. Okay, and what does CFC do? In CFC we have the chlorine molecule. Chlorine molecule. What is the full form of the CFC? CFC full form is the chlorofluorocarbon, and in the CFC we have the chlorine molecule. So this chlorine molecule reacts with this ozone and breaks this ozone into the oxygen molecule. Okay, so see, if it breaks the ozone, then the ozone will be depleted. Okay, and when this ozone is turning back into the oxygen molecule, then this ozone will be depleted, and this is how the ozone depletion works, because of the chlorine. So chlorine molecule, what does this chlorine molecule do? It depletes the ozone and it breaks the ozone. So that is why it is harmful for us. And there are some other chemicals also which contribute in the environment depletion, same as CFC do. So let us see the answer, that how we can write it. Okay. So here is the answer. Firstly, you have to tell that CFC is responsible for ozone depletion. So firstly, you have to tell what does exactly CFC do. Okay, right? Then you have to describe all the CFC molecules and the reason behind the ozone depletions, and what are the other chemicals which deplete the ozone same as the CFC do. Okay, right? So the next part will be that CFC molecules are made up of chlorine, fluorine, and carbon. So you have to tell that what are the exactly CFC and what are these made up of. Okay, right? So these molecules are made up of chlorine, fluorine, and carbon. So see, here we have the chlorine molecule and are extremely stable. So CFC is stable in the environment. Okay, right? But because of this stability, they go slowly upwards to the stratosphere, where these molecules broken up by ultraviolet radiation and release chlorine. See what is happening here, that if there is a CFC molecule in the environment, okay, CFC molecule, but these are stable, they cannot be break easily, okay, right? So they go slowly upward to the environment, they move to the environment, okay, and when they reach to the stratosphere, the ultraviolet radiation which is coming from the sun, okay, so they break these molecules, they break the CFC molecules into their that is chlorine, fluorine, and the carbon. Okay, so they break the CFC molecule. So that's how we get the chlorine from the CFC. Why? Because the ultraviolet rays is breaking them. Okay, right? So this chlorine further reacts with ozone and destroy it. See, this chlorine reacts with the ozone and destroy it. Okay, right? Chlorine acts as a catalyst and begins the destructive cycle with another ozone molecule. See, when this chlorine is done with, like let's say this is a ozone, this is a first ozone, okay, so when this chlorine is done with this ozone, that it is break this ozone, then it goes for the other ozone, okay, so this make a cycle where the chlorine act as a catalyst, okay, right, and begins the destructive cycle with another ozone molecule. So this is becomes a cycle which is a destructive because our ozone is broken, and which help us from the ultraviolet radiation, okay, which protect us from the ultraviolet radiation. So when the ozone layer will be not there, so who protect us from the ultraviolet radiation? So that is why it is important that the companies make that the manufacturing companies make CFC free refrigerators. Okay, and what are the other molecules or the other chemicals which are helping the ozone depletion? That is halogens, carbon tetrachloride, methyl chloroform, hydrofluorocarbons. So all these molecules have chlorine. Okay, all these molecules have chlorine. That's why they are in the category of the ozone depletion chemicals. Okay, right? So in all these chemicals have they have chlorine. That here you can see that the chloroform. So tetrachloride, hydrofluorocarbons. Okay, so they have the molecules. Now let us move to the next question, which is yes, in a food chain, plant represents which trophic level? Which trophic level? And state the ultimate source of energy which they use. So in a food chain, you know the food chain. What is the food chain? That we require energy, food. Okay, we require food for our body energy, right? So we are dependent on other organisms for our food and the energy. So this becomes a chain, and it is called the food chain. So food chain, in a food chain, plant represents which trophic level? So you have to tell if there is a food chain. So plant represents which trophic level and state the ultimate source of energy which they use. So what is the ultimate source of energy? That is the sun. Why? Because from the sun This is sun. Okay. From the sun, the plant gains energy. By how they do photosynthesis? You know, they do the photosynthesis. So they gain the sunlight from the sun, and they use the water from the soil, and that's how they do the photosynthesis. So the ultimate source of energy is the sun. From plant gain from the energy from the sun. Okay, and we gain energy if we eat the plant. We gain energy from the plant. So what is the ultimate source of energy here? The ultimate source of energy is the sun. Okay, so let us see how we write the answer here. So in a food chain, plant represents the first trophic level. Firstly, you have to tell that the what plant represents the trophic level. Okay, right? Plants capture the energy present in the sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. Okay, and from the plants, this energy goes to another level and reach to the top level. Hence, the ultimate source of energy is the sunlight, right? So it is that whatever I told you, that the ultimate source of energy is the sunlight, and from the sunlight, the plant gains the energy. Plant gains the energy, and from the plant, the other level reach to the energy goes the other to another level and reach to the top level. As the ultimate source of energy is the sunlight. So this is how you conclude the whole answer. Firstly, you have to tell what is question is asking, first part, and then you have to describe all the questions and goes with the concluding answer. Okay, right? Now let us move to the third question. So this is simple. This second question is simple, and no, you can understand very well. Here, the third question is, what happens to dead remains of animals in the environment? How it is vanished after some time from the environment? So this is asking about the, yes, this is asking about the decomposer indirectly, that the question decomposers. The question give you a case type question, and they are asking you that what are these, right? Decompose. So what are the decomposers? They feed on the dead organisms. Okay. So what happens to dead remains of animals in the environment? So what happens? The dead remains, whatever dead remains in the environment. Let's say if a deer dead, okay, if a fox dead, so their body remains in the environment, and after some time, after let's say 1 month, this body goes into the environment back, into the soil back. So how is this possible? This is possible because of there is presently decomposers in the environment, okay, who they feed on the dead organisms, right? So let us see how we write the answer here. The microorganisms, the microorganisms. So what are the decomposers? They are the microorganisms, okay, comprising of the bacteria and the fungi. Break down the dead remains and waste products of organisms. These microorganisms are the decomposers as they break down the complex organic substance into the simple organic substance. Okay, in the very first video where we have discussing the decomposers, what are the decomposers? So I have told you that what does the decomposer do? That they break the complex organic substance. Organic substance means the living substance, okay? Complex organic substance into simple inorganic substance. Organic substance means which we have the carbon, okay? And the body which we have the carbon, okay? And in the inorganic substance that they do not have the carbon, right? So what does the microorganisms do, or what does the decomposers do? They break down these complex organic substance into the simple inorganic substance, and that go into the soil, and this soil became the nutrition for the plant. See, what are the cycles here? What is the cycle here? The cycle is the suppose any animal is dead here. Okay, suppose the deer is dead. Okay, right? And after some time, the decomposers feed on them, and their body goes into the environment back. Their body goes into the soil back. Okay, and when and this soil have the nutrition because okay, so this soil have the nutrition, and this nutrition is work for the plant. Okay, so plant use this nutrition for their growth, right? So this dead organisms became the nutrition for the plant. Why? Because the decomposer do the main part, because they feed on the organisms. Okay, right? That's how dead remains vanished after some time from the environment, because the decomposers feed on them. That's how dead remains vanished after some time from the environment, because the decomposers feed on them. So this is how you can write the answer, a complete answer, right? Now let us move to the next question. So the next question is, differentiate the mode of reproduction between Spirogyra and the Planaria. So what are the example of, so Spirogyra is example of which reproduction? Firstly, you have to tell me that Spirogyra is the example of which reproduction, and the Planaria also. So yes, this is the example of the asexual reproduction. And in the asexual reproduction, there are many types of reproduction. So what reproduction works on the Spirogyra? That is the fragmentation. And in the Planaria, there is a asexual reproduction of the regeneration. So in the fragmentation, let's move to the answer directly. Here, the Spirogyra reproduced by the fragmentation process, right? Which is a type of asexual reproduction. Firstly, you have to tell that what does reproduction works on the Spirogyra. Okay, what are the example? Spirogyra is the example of which reproduction? That is the fragmentation and the process of the asexual reproduction, right? Then you have to tell what does fragmentation do. In a reproduction, what does reproduction are, right? So in fragmentation, organisms is split into fragments. Then they produced, okay, right? So in the fragmentation, the organisms split into the fragments. Planaria reproduced by the regeneration process, which is also a sexual type of asexual reproduction. In regeneration, organisms can be cut or broken into many pieces, and each pieces have the ability to grow into a complete organism. See, if it is a Planaria, okay, and so accidentally they broke their parts and it divides into these parts. Okay, right? So they each part have the ability to grow further, and even each part can be grow into a whole organism, whole full-fledged organism, right? So suppose this is a part, this is a B part, and this is a C part, right? So in the A part, to grow the A part, so they have the information of the B and C part. That's why they grow, and that's why they grow into a full-fledged organism. Okay, they can grow into a full-fledged organism. So they have the information of the B and C part. So, and similarly goes to the B. So in the B, they have the information of the A and C part, and the C, they have the information of the B and A part, A and B part. So that's why they can grow into a full-fledged organism. And the fragmentation, what does do? The organism split into the fragments, and then they grow, right? And here the organisms is accidentally broken their parts, right? And these broken parts, grows further, right? So in the fragmentation, the organisms split into the fragments, and then they reproduce. And in the Planaria, in the regeneration process, Organelles can be cut or broken into many pieces, and each pieces have the ability to grow into a complete organelle. Right? So this is how you can write the answer. You don't have to make the table if you don't want to, and you just simply define them because this is our for the 2 marks, right? So you have to just simply define them, that what is the difference between the Spirogyra and the Planaria, right? Because the question is asking for. Now let us move to the next question. So Ria took a stem of white rose plant and joined with other root of pink rose plant, right? State what type of reproduction process she was using and also tell about the budding reproduction with example. So in this question, you can see that 2 questions here. Firstly, what does Ria is doing? What is Ria is doing? And secondly, the budding reproduction. So what is Ria is doing? Ria using the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. Okay, just a second.